Oh. Usually I'm paying attention. I mean, it was like 3 seconds, but still. Hi, everybody. So we're going to try to make this one fairly short and fairly quick because it's already 10 o'clock at night. I am not trying to be up until 1 o'clock in the morning because I got to go to work tomorrow. And I'm trying to go to work on time tomorrow so I can leave work on time tomorrow because the amount of work that I have to do is dwindling. And the longer I'm there, like later into the day, the worse it gets. So I'm just like trying to leave. Anyway, so today I was at work and I was working at work, which was like my last day of work, basically. I mean, there'll be other work, but anyway. And so I'm doing the water today. And I noticed something that I haven't necessarily noticed yet, which is I was going to collect the water and I saw like the Sagittarius glyph on like a wall or something. And I was like, Sagittarius, like what's in Sagittarius? Oh, snap. Hello, Corey and Willow. Willow Pillow and Corey. Hello. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm talking like this, but hello and welcome. I hope you're both doing well. Um, so I see Sagittarius and I'm like, okay, like Sagittarius is weird. And then I look up at the where I am and it's station 13. And I was like, oh, Sagittarius, station 13. Death is number 13 in the tarot. So it was like the Sagittarius, Scorpio sort of energy. We're transiting from Scorpio to Sagittarius right now. We have a full moon, new moon, Sagittarius coming up. I'm talking quick because, like I said, I'm trying to get through this so I can go to bed. And so I'm like, okay. And it made me think of, is it right here? I think it's literally right here. Don't chase dogs into, no. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That is not the fortune that I thought that was. Anyway, it was like don't chase dogs into dead ends, but it's that platform 9 3/4. Like what was a dead end or what appears to be a dead end is actually a portal. And if you've been here for a second, you know that that's Flissa for me, the rune. I'm not taking all those. So I have my little rune deck and I'm pulling a card from Russ's deck and I'm going to put 9 cards in the shape of Flissa. I have the runes here because I was trying to do it and I could not figure out like which cards go where. But this is like how I drew it out. It's not going to. Yeah, well, it will. There we go. See that? So there's like the circle. So Flissa is a circle with a line going through it. But the way this is spread, it's like there's an X and then there's a circle. And it's interesting because in Sagittarius's portion of the all signs that I just did, Sagittarius had the X marks the spot and they were standing right on top of the X. The Great Serpent, the Ouroboros has been coming out in the water. Yeah, the water known alchemy. And the cycle of life and death is Scorpio. So that's the Scorpio. The X is the Sagittarius. It was given like railroad crossing energy, like whatever. Like I said, I'm sitting there at work trying to whatever. Whew. And I couldn't come up with nothing. So I was like, okay, we'll just pull the cards and see. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Holly. How y'all doing? I'm trying to like get through this because it's already 10 o'clock at night and I'm not trying to be up that late. So that's what we're going to do. I guess it's like new moon, Sagittarius energy. I feel like my own personal astrology has been like wonky for the past few days, maybe. Like Mercury, I feel like my Mercury was already doing something because I've been like extra tongue tied and the and then like I feel like something is going on with my Venus. Like my Venus is like wonky. I would say that my Mars is maybe a little wonky, but I'm coming into a Mars, a more heavily Mars focused point in time. Maybe that's what got everything. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. I'm just here. I know that onwardness and your onwardness. It's like your honor, your highness. Maybe it's better to to sleep. It's an hour later there. Oof. Oof. Oh yeah, yeah, I know where you are now. I feel like you told me before. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle this. Flirsa is gonna be in the middle. It's number one. Um, and then I'm gonna pull 8 runes after. The rune is gonna tell me what that. Darn it. I guess I'm not gonna do it like that. If Flissa pops up in the middle, so that'll be interesting. So I've already shuffled this. I'm gonna use now the future is there. Towardness. Interesting. Yeah, and I'm using like hold up, give me a second. I'm using like my laptop webcam and it's not that great. But fortunately, I started streaming on OBS. So if you give me a few moments, I can plug up another camera so you can like actually see. Because that's gonna be annoying. But anyway, things are today was just like weird. Like I'm hearing stuff all day. I feel like I'm hearing conversations in places where like I'm pretty sure there's nobody talking. I heard my name a few times. I'm just like, what is happening? I'm like, what is going on? Who knows? Also at the same time. Hey, there we go. All right, this is a little better. Let me fix this. You can't see anything yet, but I can. That is not okay. Yeah, wait, hey, there we go. Kinda. It's gonna have to work. Uno momento, please. She's gonna have to work. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I feel like slightly unfocused. Not unfocused. Oh snap! It's I am Corey. Hey Corey. I see them both as individuals. Yeah, I'm like it's. I'm just. I don't know. Hold on, let me. I was gonna use the Crow Tarot, but I'm like, it's too complex, and I'm not trying to be here all night. So I went for the Witch's Tarot because it has like nice imagery, but it's not like overly complicated, but it's not overly simple either. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like something is like. Okay. Uh, I feel like something is like, because like, so in my astrology, my planets are like literally all over the place. And I feel like something is like coming into my chart and almost like forcing everything else to sort of like readjust. And it could be a number of things. Um, I don't know. I just feel I'm gonna get one card though from the Crow Tarot, just as a like little WTF is happening, and then we're gonna get into this whatever. And I was gonna do this earlier, but I didn't do this earlier. And then, so another thing that sparked this was the Rare Gazelle on Instagram. I think it's related to the Capricorn reading that's gonna come out tomorrow. She made a post and it said something about like the inner or eternal child is the healer, and it takes dead ends and it's something with dead ends and new perspectives, and the dead ends and new perspectives is like perfectly that flips platform 9 3/4. What looks like a brick wall is actually a gateway to something that lies beyond. Two of Swords with the Two of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This Two of Swords is interesting because you see this right here. This is making me think of a joint, like an elbow or a knee. like it's a bone, and it's making me think of a mirror, the giant that Midgard and I think a few other realms were made out of. And then there's like, it feels like this is like a wall of ice. And that's why I don't use this deck. Because the first few times I use it, I'm like, okay, this is a deck that I use if I'm trying to go somewhere. And I'm not trying to go anywhere tonight. But if we go somewhere, I guess we're going somewhere. I mean, I guess I can't say that I'm not trying to go anywhere tonight because Fleur says literally a portal. Anyway. I don't know what that means though. The bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles. And it feels like it's almost like this is a bicycle or something, and the crow is pedaling this bike across the crow is ETing this bike across the sky. And I'm just like, this is more than, I'm like, what is happening right now? Okay. So I feel like it would read like a Gaian awakening. Because if that's a mirror, and a mirror is the giant that the Midgard is made out of, and we're living in Midgard, it's almost like they're the consciousness of a mirror is stirring, question mark. Now what that has to do with the Two of Swords, I don't know. The Two of Swords, it's almost because it's something, it makes me think of Hod, and how Hod is the thing that is unseen, but sight is the only sense. It's like sight was the only sense that Hod didn't have. So it's not that it can't be felt or it can't be observed in other ways. I don't know. I give up. I'm not going down there. Because it feels like this crow that's ETing across the sky isn't connected to the ground. I mean, crows aren't really in general. And so it feels like this is like actually above whatever's happening with the mirror. We're just gonna put these cards back and not dig into that anymore. It's fine. Everything will be fine. It'll be okay. Things might get crazy, but at the end of the day, it'll be fine. At the end of the day, everything will be okay. Ten of Pentacles. There we go. We'll end it on this. And the Seven of Swords. Oof. Well, the Seven of Swords isn't all bad here. But the Ten of Pentacles is a card that's been coming up a lot lately. Like it was at the bottom of both of the decks that I used yesterday as like the not stankness. And I was like, is this Aksunari? Yep, all of that. And that's what we're going to hold for that because nope. There is something, this feels like an oasis. This Ten of Pentacles. And again, like the Seven of Swords, it doesn't feel bad because it feels like the Ace of Swords is under that. It feels like the crow that's carrying away 5 swords. It's like these 2 swords going this way, the other 2 swords are going in a different direction. And none of these swords are crossed. Besides, it's carrying 3 swords, not 5. Because then this would be 9 swords. Maybe there's a 9 of swords energy here too. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with me right now. And now I feel weird and tingly. I don't know what's happening. It's fine. Actually, I might have an idea. But I don't know. It feels a little bit like an oasis. And one thing that I've noticed, I think it was like late January, early February 2020. It was the Empress in the SKT Vitruvian edition. And it was an energy of like I guess if it's a Gaian awakening / a mirror, the consciousness of the world in which we live is about to. It was like the Empress was asleep and she was like waking up, and it was like when the Empress speaks, the whole world will listen. Like the earth itself will listen when the Empress speaks. And I've been seeing the Empress pop up in like other videos lately. I know in one of Reem's videos, the Empress, like she mentioned the Empress, and it made me think of that again. And so maybe it's just like, it's more of that. And was that, she did Virgo, right? Virgo was the Empress that was opening up portals, question mark. No, I don't know if this is necessarily Virgo. But it does feel like, I don't know. We're just gonna forget I even asked, and we're gonna go back to this. So let's stick to the thing that we were doing. I should not have asked. Ooh, it's still taking forever. Bjork and ash, 2 trees, birch and poplar and ash. Now ash trees are standing dead. This is number 18. That number is popping up a lot lately. I'm pretty sure that's 18 and not 16. Yeah, that's 18. It feels like, oh, that's this tinkly feeling. Okay, that makes sense. So ash trees are standing dead because of the emerald ash borers, which are insects that burrow through the ash trees and it kills them. And when you cut down the trees and you like split it, you split the wood, you can see that you can see the path that the insect took through the tree. Now, usually ash is paired with yew because yew grows from the inside out. It revitalizes from the inside out. But it's something about those paths. It makes me think of liquid light that carves through night, but the light isn't. It's like there's something that's flowing along those paths. Oof. Okay. We'll give it two more, unless a card wants to come out and get this started. Boom, right there. In the middle, we got Gyotan Guts Shredder. This is gonna get rough. Where's my little cheat sheet? Number 2. Oh, Ignite Water Meadow. Number 3, it's Word, the All Room. Number 4 is Os, Godmouth. This card was actually, so when I was shuffling these and like quite a few of them flipped over, that was at the top. And I was like, it's too much, I'm not taking it. But it came out at the top of this. So number 5 is Lafruma, Elven Light. Of course it's Lafruma. 6, we go this way, is you. There's the, oh no, it's Feor. Fire, Ether Life. 7 is Kanafa. Knave, Blood Scented. So what Flissa is for the feminine, Kanafa is for the masculine, and how they came out. Number 8 is Ripian, Ripen and Mature. And then number 9 is Flissa. Thank you. It didn't come up in the middle, but she did make an appearance. So 7 and 9 are both on the bottom. So like the bottom, I'll just show you again. This is what it looks like, right? So here is like Kanafa. Here is Flissa. They're both on the bottom. Sort of flanking Ing, which is 2 kins that are intertwined. 2 of those cosmic divine sparks intertwined. Here we go. I'm using the Witch's Tarot. And then I'm going to put one of these on top of each, and we're going to sort of read it. I guess right off the bat, oh, we get 52 and a 53, which is interesting. Oh, yeah. So whatever this is, it drops down and activates the Lafruma. See, and I feel like, again, that's that, like, 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. That's like, that's that tingly feeling. Right? That's how, because usually that's the ash. The ash is the emerald. The ash is standing dead, right? So it's like, this is standing dead. This is going to revitalize it. Usually it's a you energy and it regrows from the inside. But with it being, excuse me, with it being paired with Bjark, it's different. And it almost makes me think of the reading yesterday and how there was something in the dark that was reaching up towards the light. And then after I changed the title today, and I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, maybe it's like the self and the ego. I retitled it Iterations of the Self and the Ego. And it's like integrating pieces of the ego into the self, or it's realizing which pieces of the ego hold greater truth, and those pieces actually belong to the self, right? Or a version of the self. Maybe like the, anyway. It could be, but it's like, I don't know. It feels weird. Well, I guess the ether life. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I think yeah. Maybe you're right. Because the top part of this, we have the maturing of this ether life that's crowned in God mouth. Just like we have these rites of passage that are crowned by igniting the water meadow in the bottom. But like if both the masculine and feminine are sparking and they're coming together, it would make sense for the like ether channels to mature. And then if this is like if that's happening, if the masculine feminine sparks are like combining down here and there's a maturation of ether channels up here, it makes sense that it culminates in a lafruma over here. So like if we past, present, future this, it's word, gotan, and lafruma. I'm not even trying to pronounce these tonight. Okay. We're doing bare minimum because like Russ said, it's old language. Who knows how it's pronounced? I ain't got time. So word Gotan and Lafruma is like the linear sort of thoroughput in this. So I feel like this is basically yesterday. Oh, and look, by earthly power, Earth Masion is at the bottom of the deck because why wouldn't it be? It's like the colors are almost flipped. They might actually be flipped. So let's get a card for each of these. Number one. So Scorpio is bringing out the Lafruma ing word os. And then Sagittarius is bringing out the Feor Knafa Ripien Flursa. Oh, that's interesting. Because on this axis, you see that? It's like this is like one of these drops down and moves like that, and then the other one just like swings up. I feel like so all over the place right now, but it's fine. We're gonna go to two more, of course. The Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords was in position 4 yesterday. The Ace of Swords is where the subconscious and conscious meet, where the light and the dark meet. The Emperor is at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to keep the Ace of Swords out. Oh, God. And the Ace of Cups. I like the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups because we have the masculine maturing and the feminine maturing. It feels like masculine maturity is the Ace of Swords because it's like logic and reasoning and stuff like that. It's easy to connect that to the masculine, and it's easy to connect the Ace of Cups to the feminine because it's like feeling, intuition, connection. So there's a emotional interconnection and a mental intra connection. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of Cups. 2 of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. The 2 of Wands was actually I saw the 2 of Wands at some point. It might have been at the bottom of the deck when I first picked it up before I shuffled it. So what's interesting is right off the bat, Lafruma is coming with the 4 of Cups. We're coming into a new moon Sagittarius, but when I read the eclipses, the 4 of Cups was last year's full moon Scorpio solar eclipse, or full moon Scorpio lunar eclipse, I think. Because I think the nodes were still Gemini and I'm pretty sure the nodes were still Gemini Sagittarius. But instead of having a full moon full moon Gemini lunar eclipse and Sagittarius season, we had an early full moon Taurus lunar eclipse and Scorpio season. And that card, it was one card that came out, it was the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups tied to the full moon Scorpio or full moon Taurus lunar eclipse that we were actually having on one side of it. So this card we've just seen, and it's partnered with Lafruma. And in that reading, I'm pretty sure it was the mermaid is like the divine, or whatever the divine is gifting us, but it's almost like it's running aground. Like it's a mermaid. She ain't Ariel. She ain't got legs yet. I mean, like, it's Lafruma. Could she get some legs? Yeah, but she doesn't have legs. So we can go to the water to meet her, or we can go in the water and swim with her, but she's not going to flounder on the land. Now, the last time the BYOD iterations of the self and ego, our introduction to the energy was the 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords is here with maturing. And that was all about our understanding, mostly our understanding of the light maturing, because our understanding of like dark and shadow is fairly solid with all of the shadow work and healing that we do. But when it comes to like the light, it's almost like we recognize it when we see it, but we don't fully. It's almost like it's not as explored as the depths of shadow are. Or is the depths are, yeah. And then we just saw the Emperor at the bottom of the deck when the Ace of Swords came out. The Emperor is in the past with word. Or it's in the leftmost position. What's interesting is we're starting with the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords is on top of this guts and shedding. I think, too, I've never focused on this before. Is it the Singing Towers of Beryllium? Like, the background on this card is interesting. I'm sure it's like a castle or something. But the architecture of it is interesting because they're like these 2 spires of equal height. It almost makes me think of a 2 of Swords. But 2, this makes me think of Gemini. Sagittarius, Gemini, I guess. I guess that is also this. The transition between the Gemini Sagittarius nodal axis and the Scorpio Taurus one. Potentially. But it's making me think of the Gemini in that, because it was something about like there was a space that was preserved in Gemini's reading. It's like Gemini thought that there was something that they held on to that was precious, and it's gone, it's lost forever because of life. They've moved on, or they forgot it, or whatever, but it's like it's still where you left it. It's been protected. And it was, I think, the Four of Swords and the Santa Muerte. But here it's like this is the very space where it's like this is where they meet. Right here is the eight of Swords. And that's where the thing drops to activate the Fruma line. And so since the Four of Cups is sitting with Lafruma, it's actually not bad. Because we are at the water's edge. But since it's the Four of Cups and the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is usually blindfolded. And it's hid unseen. Or we can't see it. And then with the Four of Cups, a lot of times it's depicted as some, like the Ace of Cups is being offered to someone sitting under a tree, like, where's my Ace of Cups? But they're not paying attention. They don't see it. They're not blindfolded anymore, but they still don't see it. Going off of the shedding in this, and it's funny because I had a thought today. I was thinking about this year, and so for context, in Patrick's last astrological year, I've been going through my Saturn return, and Uranus is transiting in between my rising and my moon. So there's a lot of change in my life right now. It's all gorgeous, of course, or it works out to be gorgeous by the end of it. And that's also why I'm like, I don't know what is me and my transits and what's collective. But the reason why, like, I was thinking about sort of like this past year today and the different opportunities that I've had within the year to make choices and decisions that I wouldn't have made in the past. And it was a question of, and part of it, it's almost partly like it doesn't really matter. But it was a question of like, did the healing happen in those moments that I made those choices and decisions? Or did the healing happen before that? And then in those moments, I had the opportunity to act on that healing and make the choice. For some reason, it was like the healing happened before those moments. Like it didn't happen on the spot. Not that it can't happen on the spot, you know what I mean? But it's like I had been, it's almost like a curriculum. Like my curriculum was already sort of planned out so that I would have different moments and opportunities to like be triggered in a way, address that trigger, maybe not get an opportunity to resolve it within that situation, or I come across something, or like I'm just healing and then, you know, you reach something else and you heal that. And then there's like the test, but it's not really a test. It's just an opportunity for you to prove to yourself that like, hey, I can make different choices and decisions. And the reason I guess why I asked that is because of the shedding. Shedding is paired with the Eight of Swords. So it's almost like there's a potential that we've healed things that we don't even know that we've healed. Or we've already changed in ways that we don't even necessarily know. It's like going through a metamorphosis process, but it's like we're not a caterpillar that turns into a butterfly that can fly now. Or we're not a dragonfly that's a nymph at the bottom of some body of water, and then in the dragonfly stage, like we fly. Or even like a frog where, you know, we got a little tadpole tail and no legs, and then we get legs and we can go hop on land. And so it's almost like the metamorphosis has transpired, but without those moments to make the heal choice and decision, it's almost like it can be easy to miss, or it can be easy to think that we're not as ready as we actually are. And it makes me think of every single time every time I pulled out Mausolea Oracle of Souls and like Vanth would come out. It's like you have exactly what you need to do what like you need to do. And if you don't have it, it will be easily accessible. It'll be right there. And that was the whole thing with Sagittarius too, because it was like Sagittarius is looking for like their next target, and the bullseye is an X, and they're standing right on top of it. That's the circle was Ouroboros. Yeah, this is Scorpio. Circle, portal, opening, a hole. Scorpio, the great serpent, sea serpent. This circle, and then I put circle as potential, right? So I already listed out what this circle is. What is Scorpio beyond death and transformation? Scorpio is depth. And that depth, again, it's making me think of the emerald ash borer and the path that it left through the tree as it was like wreaking havoc. Now, if it started at the core and worked its way out, then when the light pours in, it's going to go all the way to the very source. Oh gosh, this like I feel like this like the flutter turned into full blown not anxiety, but you know when you get like butterflies in your stomach, and then you know when you get like anxious, like it's feeling like kind of like super fluttery. So then we go down to two. Two is Ing Ignite Water Meadow. In position two, it's number 22. So we have a 222, or there's a 22 in position two, which is interesting. It came out with the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is she's minor Empress because she's like pre Queen of Pentacles. I also love that again we have like this gate because I'm all about the gate of Sahakiel apparently. I get this, but I don't get this. But I feel like I do. This Nine of Pentacles, it's like igniting the water meadow is the key to like this new portal gateway sort of opening. Even like igniting the water meadow itself, it's a space where water and fire meet. And that's what all of this down here is about. There's the maturing feminine and the maturing masculine that meet in this ignited water meadow. It's these two intertwined divine sparks. So it's like what I don't get is like, but I do get because I'm also human. But reading this, like reading it, what's difficult to like, it's like I don't understand this Eight of Swords, Four of Cups sort of energy if this is like right here. Because this feels like something that's already sort of attained or achieved. But maybe it's cyclic because this is the Scorpio ring. And if this is the Scorpio ring, then this symbolizes this. So we have a feminine energy that is coming into her own, that is learning to stand on her own and not rely on other people for validation. Then we have the word, the all rune with the emperor. I feel like this is so weird. I only feel like it's weird because like it seems like a lot of times we hear like feminine, masculine energy. It's the feminine that has everything figured out, and it's the masculine that needs to catch up. But the masculine is coming out, at least here on the other side, maybe not necessarily. It's coming out as the emperor. We have the nine of coins on the bottom, the queen of cups at the top, but no empress. And then there are no. Are there any pre-king energies though? Because I feel like the nines are. I guess the nine of wands and the nine of swords. That makes sense though. The nine of cups is a dude too. Anyway, but he's holding the Ankh, right? Which is gifted to him by the Empress. And he's also holding that little golden circle. I mean, he holds the seed, but it's the feminine that incubates it, right? That houses it. I want to see, like, whoa, where is the Empress? And then at the top with Os Godmouth, or Os Godmouth, it's the Queen of Cups. Which is a decent pairing because the Queen of Cups is like pre High Priestess energy, right? So she's the intuitive one. So we have like Godmouth with the intuitive queen, but she's not the High Priestess. I mean, we're human, we're not infallible or infallible. Maybe that's why this Eight of Swords is here. It's interesting because it reads as like we know all of, if not some of, the things that we're capable of as conscious co-creators with the universe. But like there's a disconnect up here. I don't know how much or how accurately the Queen of Cups can like translate Godmouth. As if Godmouth is a language, I don't know how fluent the Queen of Cups is in Godmouth. I don't know if like Queen of Cups Godmouth is like universal Godmouth, or if it's like this is what I want to hear, this is what I already believe Godmouth. You know what I mean? Or this is what I think will get me sort of like where I want to go. I don't know how many filters the Queen has on her cup. And then we end with the Fruma and the Four of Cups. Like again, it's like it's right there. But there's something, it reads like resistance. Maybe that's what this Eight of Swords is. Maybe the Eight of Swords is a resistance. It's a resistance to, honestly, some kind of healing. It's a pain that's held on to. It's reading like a pain that's held on to. And so it doesn't allow anything to sort of like come in. It's almost like it's this solid blue bit here. Like this is the channel that's trying to be used, but it's blocked right now. And so it's almost like there's a clot that formed because like these ether channels are like maturing or whatever, right? So it's almost like how we have like veins and arteries that our blood circulates through. There's like energetic veins and arteries that source light circulates through at the core of our soul, and it goes like outward. But it's almost like those veins and arteries are, there's like a main vein that's clogged. And if I had to guess the clog because of everything that's been coming out, it's either it's in the throat or the third eye. I mean, with God mouth, it can be kind of both because the mouth is there for the throat, but it feels like it would be more like third eye. I mean, honestly, maybe it feels like it'd be a little bit more crowny, but because of the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is the card that came out in the Crow Tarot. The Two of Swords in the Tarot of the Abyss. And that was what, the 3 golden moons? Golden moons, this golden egg. Yeah. And it's almost like it's like a blind spot, or it becomes a blind spot. It's interesting though, because it feels like there's light and then there are these blind spots. And because we have a blind spot there, it's almost like no light can enter that space. And so we confuse that for darkness because it doesn't like emit any light, because it doesn't take any light to then like reflect, you know what I mean? And so we confuse it for darkness, but it doesn't feel like it's actually dark. I mean, is it tied to it or linked to it in some way? Probably, because if it's a space where we can't accept light, you know what I mean? But if we go into semantics, it feels like it's not actually dark. It's just a space where we don't allow light. So we have the 5 of Swords with Rippian, ripen and mature, which is, again, it's very on brand because that's what the whole thing was about yesterday. The divine was the high priest. I'm pretty sure the high priestess was there with the sword and everything else. A big one, thank you, because I need it. I need it. Thank you, I need it. Sorry, 1 second, my friend. Oh, I need it. So, there are these points in my life where I reach out to my buddy, the one that I went to go visit in the UK, and I'm like, say a prayer for me. And so I texted him earlier. I was like, say a little prayer for me. And then he just replied and said, I said a big one. He said a big prayer. And I was like, thank you, because I needed that. It's fine. I'll reply later. He's like UK side, so it's like the morning over there. It's not morning here. And it's already been almost an hour. So the BYOD was all about maturing. There was a way in which we were being encouraged to mature. And as we matured more and more, the arrows that were shot in the Eight of Wands, it's like they become stars. We become more luminous and we carry more light with us. But in order to carry that light, we have to bear the darkness. It's like we don't, but it's that whole like the brighter the light, the darker the darkness type of thing. And again, that goes back to the Ten of Swords, the Destroyer, that came out in the SKT Revelations with the two drums, and there was like the dark, and there was the light, and there was this purification process that was happening within the shaman to make the shaman capable of receiving a divine gift. And it feels like that's exactly this. That's the shedding, the purification to literally receive a divine gift. It's right here again. What was the title of that video? I don't remember, um, honestly. But I do want to look at that. It was the Ten of Swords, the Destroyer, and the SKT Revelations. Oh, not the Scarlet Shield. I just want to find it really quick. I feel like, and that's like a shamaness channels the destroyer of obstacles. We are seeing her physical and spiritual forms merging, and so she appears with 6 arms. This is the Ten of Swords in that deck. But this is all about like the ego and the self, sort of that evolution, that spiritual and physical occupying the same space at the same time. It's very much this, well, it's pushing us towards this energy. So she appears with 6 arms because her physical and spiritual forms have merged. And then it talked about the drums. What's an uvu? Behind the shamaness is an ovo, also oboe, a shrine or altar consisting of stones and wood formed into a mound and consecrated, constructed at the top of a hill or mountain. Where is it? Oh, it's back here. It's this little thing right there. The reason why I'm drawn to that is because like we have the circle, right? It said, according to Mongolian tradition, when you encounter an ovo along your journeys, stop and walk a circle around the ovo 3 times clockwise. If we go clockwise, it's Lafruma ing word os. Lafruma ing word os. Lafruma ing word os. Or word os Lafruma ing. Wherever you want to start. And that's how I placed it. I placed it clockwise and read it clockwise. I remember thinking when I was at work too, I was like, do I do this like clockwise or counterclockwise? And I was like, I'll do it clockwise. Why not? You like to buy a vowel? I mean, you got to talk to, I guess I am Pat. This Pat doesn't know. I'm not Sajak, sorry. Does anyone know what the word is? Here are the drums right here. Oh, duh. Twin war drums stand on either side of the shamaness. A red cord tied around the hoop of the drum on the right and green on the hoop on the left. Red and green and ripe and mature. I think this is the only card with red and green. Knafa and Flissa are red and blue. Yeah. And then there's the magic square. Okay. So Mongolian shamanism is identified in two categories: black shamanism and golden shamanism. In Mongolian cosmology, Tengri were divine spirits that themselves were distinguished as black, destructive, defensive, or protective, and golden/yellow, creative, nurturing, beneficent. So notice we get like the protective and black. And the black dragon came out in the dragon oracle cards. And it was like cocooning you during a transformation process or something like that. That's a process of sacred transformation. I mean, it has to be sacred because of the results. So, you know what I mean? Like it's a very sacred process, which is also why it might be so like black shamanism specialized in calling forth the black Tengri, while golden shamanism specialized in calling forth the golden or yellow Tengri. Where's the part where it has to be right here? Yeah, it's right here. So the reference to quality. Well, now I got to read the part where it talks about quality. Oh, there's the number 13. Station 13. So we got to do it right. This is a 9-card spread for Station 13. So I'll just read it. Historically, in most Mongolian ethnic groups, a male shaman okay, it's just talking about a male shaman was a bo'o. Though in contemporary times the term can be used to apply to either male or female shaman, while Ugdan was the original term for female shaman or shamaness. A Gyron is a shaman who has had several initiations, often up to 9 or 13 initiations, meaning the arduous mystical process of being called by a spirit and then trained under a particular master shaman. Among the Burieds, the term for a shaman's initiation is a sonar, etymologically meaning quality, referring to the advancement of the nature of a shaman's powers and abilities. The reference to quality is also the process of purification, of purifying the shaman so that the individual can be worthy of receiving the divine gifts from spirit. And that's the part that I tried to this is literally, it was just for that. And there was quality. So among the shaman's initiations is a process of purification that advances the nature of a shaman's powers and abilities. I love that it mentioned that it advances the nature of the powers and abilities and not that it advances the power and abilities themselves, because that it feels like the nature holds more true to whatever this is. I mean, it's like it's an initiation into like Lafruma type of, like it's an initiation to receive Lafruma. When you got Lafruma pumping through your body, you know, don't ask me, I don't know, but and then it's like this, it feels like it's just this capacity that we all carry, thy earthly power, like, or that's what it feels like. Holly is red and green. Oh, snap. Well, maybe there's some more information in that sign. I think you did fixed signs today, right? I actually, so I was at work when I like it was the end of my work day, so I was doing all my computer stuff, and he was still live. But I was at work, and I'm not signing into the computers at work, so I couldn't comment. But I actually did catch the later part of Taurus as soon as he was talking about like this is platinum energy and something about plowing through the earth to aerate the soil for new seeds or whatever. That's when I came in. Um, but anyway, I think that was like the only part I really heard because then I left work. So this is the portal. The portal is this purification process. It's very like stankness in a way, or the Scorpio, and it's Scorpio. I feel like usually Virgo was a little bit more purification, and Scorpio was just like straight up death and rebirth. But we see their relation in that. So then we go to 6 with the ether life. We have the Fool, which is a gore. Like I love these two paired together. Number 30, 30, 40, 52, 53, 50, 30, 40, 50, 58, 22, 57, 57, 57, 58. Wait, where's 58? Oh, it's down here. 57 and 58 is Swiss and Knappen. The numbers have probably changed. This is like the version 1 raw rooms. Um, I never made an updated one because it took long enough to make this one, honestly. It was such a labor of love. It's like, I don't want to let him go anyway. It's fine. Fool is with that ether life. And I love it. Fool with ether life is interesting, though. I mean, I guess if we're talking about Flussa and running through a brick wall, the Fool would be a great energy to have because I don't know if a wise one would run uh, headlong at top speed into a brick wall. You know what I mean? Unless the wise one knew that it wasn't a brick wall. And then that's on the same axis as Kanafa. What's interesting about Kanafa being blood scented, I mean, Flussa is first blood, but it makes me think again of like there are the arteries and veins that are the blood channels, but then there are like energetic channels for ether within the body. And we have the Fool in the world. This, what, 6, 7 axis? It's ether life, blood scented, the Fool in the world. And then the Gotan and the Eight of Swords is the point in the middle. I think the Eight of Swords is also, it makes sense for it to come out where it is because that's the space where the Scorpionic Ouroboros ring and the what is reading Sagittarius cross meet, right? I mean, I guess not really, but it's because of how it laid out. Well, it's the what do you call the middle of a circle? It's not a it's not a vertex. My geology is geology. Yeah, no, geometry. I told you something's wrong with my brain. My geometry is rusty. Is it like the vertex? What's the middle of a circle called? Middle of a circle. Name. There we go. What is your name? The center? The center of a circle is defined as the point in the middle of the circle. The word I was looking for was center. Okay, sure. The center of the circle is where those two meet. Oh, do we have a medicine wheel on our hands? I mean, like this, it's purification, so it would make sense if it's like medicine wheel energy, right? So the Queen of Cups sits to the north, in between the Five of Swords and the Fool. The Four of Cups sits to the east, in between the Five of Swords and the World. The Nine of Pentacles sits in the south, in between the World and the Ten of Cups. And then the Emperor sits to the west, in between the Ten of Cups and the Fool. The Emperor sitting in the west, I feel like makes sense because the sun sets in the west. And so I feel like that direction would hold. My medicine wheel is beyond rusty. My knowledge of the medicine wheel is practically non existent. But if the sun sets in the west, I think west holds is the direction of like death, right? Or the setting sun. Medicine wheel, girl. I need to stop Googling because I'm trying to go to bed. The western direction represents the adult stage of life. Death is also represented in this direction. Death comes in many forms. There you go. So, yes. And it's the emperor. So it's like, it makes sense. Hopefully, we're mature at that point. Hopefully, anyway, it's fine. This is also major arcana. The Fool in the World. The other axis is the Five of Swords and the Ten of Cups. Um, I'm. I don't know if struggling is the word. It's interesting. So Kanafa is in a lot of traditions, or in at least a few traditions, when a boy reaches the age where he becomes a man, he goes out and he kills something. When a girl reaches the age when she becomes a woman, she bleeds. Right? And so blood is associated with both of them. But the thing that's interesting is like Kanafa it's not adulthood. I mean, I guess it's like the entry into adulthood, but it's not like being an adult. You know what I mean? I mean, like, if you're an adult, it's not like you've been an adult for a while. You know what I mean? But it's coming out as the world. It feels like it makes sense from like a spiritual standpoint, though, because after you hit the world, it's like you become a spiritual adult. Now you go into the world sort of with a sense of self. It's like a Fool 2.0. It's very like the Keeper energy in the SKT. Um, the major arcana is the Fool's journey through life, from the magician all the way to the world, right? But it's like the world, again, because it's coming out with Kanafa. The world is like our entry point into adulthood. It's like it's after that point where we're actually like, you know what I mean? I don't know what the word is, but I'm making the gestures. Which is again why this is all about maturing. The Five of Swords is maturing, which again, I feel like that's all. Just watch the video if you didn't watch it already. BYOD, iterations of the self and ego. It's BYOD, so feel free to pull along with me as I pull the cards and get a more specific to your whatever. That's how those are, and that's part of how they were intended. It's the Five of Swords, and again, the Five of Swords is where we started. The Five of Swords, it's basically like it's being at a point in a journey where there's a switch that flips, and instead of being on one side of the polarity, now we're going to be on the other side of the polarity. Probably a little too strongly, but that's fine. We'll find our balance as we get adjusted to the new energy, right? And so it's like, for example, let's say that you've never had a kiwi in your life and you always think that you hated kiwis and you're like, I'll never eat a kiwi. Strawberry kiwi, ew. No, not even that. And then one day somebody's like, well, have you actually ever even tried a kiwi? And you're like, no, because they're gross. And they're like, just try it. And you're like, no, I'm not going to try it. And then they're like, how do you know if you don't like it until you try it? And you're like, fine, okay. And so you eat the kiwi and you love it. And then you go kiwi crazy. And kiwi is like the only thing that you eat for like at least a month, if not like 5 years. And it's like kiwi everything. And then, after you get over the novelty of kiwi, you're like, okay, I think it's time to introduce more fruits into my diet and other foods. And then it's like you have the kiwis because you enjoy kiwis, but also you eat everything else. You almost go back to the way that you were like living and eating before, but now you incorporate kiwi into your diet because you like it. It's a very loose metaphor. But like that's the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is the point where like you're going kiwi crazy because oh my gosh, I just discovered kiwi and it's the best thing ever. And you go and spread the gospel of kiwi across the land. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Oof. I need to hydrate. I really do. I've been thinking about how dehydrated I am. I've been drinking a lot of not water. Not a lot of not water, but kind of. Because when I got sick, it was like I want everything sweet. I'm drinking like sodas and juices, and my water consumption went way down. Well, when I first got sick, I was drinking more water to hydrate, but then after that, I've been on um, like Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew used to give me caffeine headaches, but not now. Anyway, so the Five of Swords is like that's where ripe and maturing is. It's almost like I want to say it's like I want to use the word contextualize, um, but it's just like it's like a temperance energy. We discover how much is appropriate for whichever situations, and then we got the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups, yeah, love those cups. The Ten of Cups on Flussa. I mean, if this is, and that is like some rainbow bridge type of energy with this 10 cups. It's also kind of sort of again that a little bit of a gate of Sakio. It's an arch. I don't know what Kanafa is. Honestly, Felissa is the card in this spread that I have the most connection to. And it's the Felissa shaped spread. So, I mean, the Ten of Cups is gorgeous. That is Mars and Pisces. And I could go on a whole Mars and Pisces Ten of Cups rant, but I'm not going to do it today because I've done it enough in the past. I feel like again, with the Eight of Swords being in the middle of this, it makes sense. Because it's almost like, and the Queen of Cups is here. So if we receive, like, if we know that something is like ours or it is for us, it's almost like it's easy to do like way too much. It's also easy to do nothing. I feel like it's easy to either do way, way, way too much or to do absolutely nothing when you know it's yours. But it's almost like, how would we know how much is appropriate? Especially if this is an energy that we haven't experienced yet. Right? It's like baking a cake without a recipe. How do you know how much flour and eggs and yeast and everything else to use if you've never done it before? If you've got great baking sense, then something within you will just know. And that something within you that just knows is your intuition and discernment, Henny. Like, use it. You know what I mean? It's an hour and a half. I need to go to bed. So, I'm sorry, but it's true. So, is this the new moon, Sagittarius? I don't know. Maybe part of this will sort of come to a head in new moon Sagittarius. Because Sagittarius was like X marks the spot. Sagittarius's reading was gorgeous. And it felt like whatever Sagittarius was doing, it was making it energetically easier for the rest of us to experience the gorgeousness that was Sagittarius. If I could clarify anything, I would definitely see what's before and after the Empress because we have Emperor energy here. I would also look at the High Priestess because the Queen of Cups came with God mouth. I think that's it, though. Did I talk about Lafruma? And I feel like I skipped Lafruma. I feel like I went from the Queen of Cups speaking God mouth right to the Fool, and I should have went to Lafruma after that. But we already know what Lafruma is, so I don't know. It's really like the implications of these are like, my brain is like, so is people just gonna be walking around with 6 arms? You know what I mean? And I know some people already got like they energetic arms on. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, then maybe you don't know what I mean. But I know that at least one person in here knows what I mean. But anyway, it's fine. And it's an energy that's like, it's been kind of sort of creeping in. It's definitely been present in a very like mentor mentee sort of type of way. Don't ask me any questions because I have no answers. Those are questions that you would have. Those are questions that you would have. Those are answers that you would have. I don't know. All right, well, excuse me. I did see that Aqua Vitae came out in Russ's Taurus reading, so I will drink the alcohol because Russ's Taurus reading told me that I can drink all the alcohol. So, because I know that alcohol is not the solution, it is a solution. I'm kidding, kind of. I don't drink to like cope though. I'm a Pisces with escapist tendencies and a slightly addictive personality. So it took me a long time before I was even comfortable drinking alcohol, and alcoholism runs in my family. So I had to learn. I didn't have to learn. I just always carried that, I guess, knowledge with me. I can't be the person to drink to get drunk. So anyway, it's fine. But that's why I feel comfortable drinking. And I don't, I mean, I guess I would say I know some people like, you can't drink and pull cards or whatever. And I'm like, why not? Just because I'm intoxicated don't mean that spirit has abandoned me. sometimes, sometimes I wonder if my karma will be to be someone's like guide or ancestor that's just like me. Like, I don't gotta listen to you. You lived your life, okay? You made your mistakes. Let me make mine. That's what I would tell my mom when I was growing up. I'm like, I'm young. Like, let me make mistakes while there are virtually no consequences. Let me be stupid. And she was like, no, if you know it's a mistake, and if I know it's a mistake, then why would I let you do it? And I was like, because I'm young and I can. Hello? She didn't go for it. Love that. Final. Ooh. Oh, Wealth, Livestock, Feo, and Resistance, Anmula. Anmula loves to come out. And then New. Oh, well, there's myself, humankind, man. I was going to say New was at the bottom of the deck under that, but here it is. It fell. A new willful resistance. I kind of like a new willful resistance, though. I like a new resistance. New resistance, I don't know, it feels good. Um, New resistance, it's that if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. The fortune that I thought was the one about chasing a dog until dead and knowing that it wasn't. But it's almost like at the end of all of this, it's being anchored in it. It's not old resistance that keeps us from integrating that Lafruma energy. It's a new Ten of Cups at the cut again. I pulled cards for myself, a card every month this year. And then I clarified it because it was just so interesting. And now that I reached the end of the year, I guess I kind of sort of get it. I guess I do. So when I pulled my cards, it's like the cards from January to June were upright. And then literally every single card from like July to December was in reverse. That's why I pulled clarifiers, because I'm like, what is happening? And then like one of the at the bottom of the Wild Unknown Tarot was like the Wheel of Fortune. And it's like it has the moon at the top and then the sun at the bottom. So I was like, okay, if the moon, like if the Wheel of Fortune is at the bottom of the deck and the sun is at the bottom, I don't mind if like the later half of the year is in reverse, because maybe that'll be the sun period. You know what I mean? On the Wheel of Fortune. But it feels like the top of this year was like super heavy and like it was like more action heavy. The bottom of the year is almost like almost like riding the wave, but I guess yeah, because when surfers ride waves, if the waves are particularly gnarly, then you gotta paddle and you gotta do stuff. It ain't like. Ooh, Temperance. Speak of the Sagittarius. Temperance is the card that flipped over. Bottom of the deck is the Nine of Pentacles. Excuse me. You just read the word fortune as I said it. Oh, snap. Well, fortune. It's also interesting that the Wheel of Fortune is one of my overall cards for this month, because if you know, you know, and you don't know, but it's interesting. Trust me, it's interesting. And it's also interesting that fortune would come in the later half of the year. If you knew, you would know it's interesting. You would know how interesting it really is. I don't know. I just feel like somebody somewhere has a sense of humor, and I'm like, ha, you're funny. You're funny. But we'll see if it's a sense of humor. You know what I mean? Well, we'll have to live life for that one. The Fool is in here. The Fool and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. Want it to be seen. I like the Seven of Pentacles. I like that the Seven of Pentacles came out with the 9. The Hermit is under this 9 of Pentacles. That's a 9-9. 9 of Earth, 9 of Earth. If the Hermit is Virgo, right? And this is Virgo. What planet in Virgo? I don't remember. But I like the Seven of Pentacles that came out, because it's like, it's trust your work. Trust that everything that you've put into motion, trust that all that you've done until now will pay off. Trust that it'll mean something. And so with this Fool card here, it's almost like, don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to try things that you would have never tried before. Again, because it's like, you're not who you used to be. If you are who you used to be, then maybe don't. If you are the same person that you used to be, then this does not resonate for you. I mean, you can still take it if you want. Maybe you'll surprise yourself. I am a firm believer that healing can happen in the moment. It's not as easy as if we've already prepared ourselves in some way, but we can make those choices and decisions in the moment. We can just wake up one day and decide that everything's going to be different. That's one of my favorite sci-fi shows is Fringe. And like all the characters, there's like, if you haven't seen Fringe, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, there are parallel universes in Fringe. And so when the people from different universes meet, they're like, oh, like, because a lot of them are different. And they're like, oh, like, what happened in your life to make you different? And then there's this one character who's like, oh, like, they're comparing their lives and everything is the same. And the character from our universe is kind of dweeby, and he doesn't like it. And he's like, well, how are you so cool? Like, if our lives are literally the same, why are you so much like cooler than me? And the other person was like, I just like woke up one day and I decided to do things differently. I just made a choice one day. not triggered or really prompted by anything besides my desire to change. It happens. People do it all the time. But it's just like easier if you've done it. So I guess I shouldn't say don't, whatever, but use your own intuition, guidance, and discernment, right? Because I don't know, just like, well, Patrick said that I should do the same thing because I'm different, and the same thing happened as a result. Seven of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, trust your work, trust your process, trust your journey. If you trust the divine, then trust that the curriculum that they've built for you is going to give you the knowledge and information that you need to proceed forward. And trust that they're not going to set you up to fail. If you can trust that, then trust it. And don't be afraid to take risks with the Fool. Don't be afraid to, I don't know, do something a little crazy. A little crazy. Maybe completely crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's it's fine. Oh, Fringe is so good. I watched Fringe with the buddy that I was talking about, the one that said a big prayer for me. Well, so an old friend got me on Fringe, and then I loved it. The 5th season was interesting, but yeah, it was an amazing show. If y'all haven't seen Fringe, I would suggest it. Like, I kind of didn't spoil. I mean, it is kind of a spoil, but like, that's fairly early in the show. It's wild, honestly, because I guess it's fine. Anyway, yeah, don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit. You don't need so much trepidation. And that's the thing, right? With who was down here? Kanafa and the world. With Kanafa and the world on the other side of Feyor, and or Fire. The Ether Fire Fool that was on the same axis as the Knave and the world. It's like a full 2.0 energy. That's why it's like, you've changed. You're not the same person that you were before. So you can afford to be a fool. You'll be all right. I do want to pull a Mausolea Oracle of Souls card just because I'm curious to see if Fan will pop up. And then I need to go to bed because, like I said, I got to work tomorrow. And it's almost midnight and I wasn't supposed to be up this late. But it's fine. I mean, let me not. It is helpful to get things in different ways. And I guess it is helpful sometimes when they will confirm. I mean, I feel like I go live often enough that, it's not too much of a surprise if we dive a little bit deeper or if we reaffirm or whatever. What does it mean, though? Again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I haven't, I just, like, I feel like I get it. I just don't know what it means. As a human, you know what I mean? Like, as a person, what does it mean to hold more divinity? 2 cards come out: the Poet of Avon, the Storyteller, and Thanatos, Warden of Dis. The Poet of Avon is fame, stagnation, and pride. Thanatos is completion, support, and expediency. Bottom of the deck is Arthur, the Champion of Avalon, who is companionship, nobility, and self-realization. Self-realization is interesting. Love that self-realization. It's also interesting that Pride is here because Samyaza is the angel of pride, and Samyaza, the angel of pride, came out. There was the coronation of Samyaza, the angel of pride, recently. Don't ask me when. I don't remember. Well, it would have been like 2 reads ago, I think. It was the first time I used the Diablo deck because I went to the Little Angels and I was like, oh, it's still on brand. I would still love to like use that deck and be able to use one of the other 2 decks, but it's fine. It's just like we're in such a self-initiated point right now. It's like you hold the keys, you make the choices, you make the decisions, you're the one who decides where the car goes. So the poet of Avon, the storyteller. The poet of Avon clings too closely to his previous existence, both unable to forget his former achievements and unable to do anything but continue to replicate them. He eternally retreads the same ground he did in life, producing works for eager audiences who fuel his creative expression by feeding his ego with applause and encores, in dangerous territory of becoming Turiel, Angel of the Mountain. That Turiel, Angel of the Mountain, it was like the praise seemed to sustain him almost as much as food and water. The Turiel before it started attracting the gaze of the greedy. And it was like, okay. Anyway, sorry. I don't apologize. I mean, I just did. I am sorry. I'm tired, okay? It's fine. The poet of Avon teaches us that fame and adulation can be both reward and chain, and that one can use one's creative spark to feed oneself temporarily, but mind to look after spiritual food as well. That's solar plexus energy. Solar plexus is all about sustenance. And it's not just food and water, but it's how we sustain ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. It's also interesting that the spark is there. So that's the poet of Avon. Next is Thanatos, and then, Thanatos is in this next kingdom. Thanatos, warden of Dis, the son of night and darkness, Thanatos supports the rest of the deities of Hades in their duties, filling whatever need is required. The god of endings, he sees all things through to completion, serving those who require service, in line with the ultimate goals of the realm and its master. Thanatos teaches us that it is not always leadership where satisfaction and worthiness is found. There is often greater satisfaction in seeing a good thing completed for others than in chasing glory, fame, or credit. Done, after all, is better than perfect. I love that we have the one who struggles to let something go partnered up with the one who brings things to completion. So, but I feel like that's kind of how the last reading ended too. And that, like, if you work at a company and you're doing the same thing that you've done for the past 100 years, well, the world has changed. So if you don't want to go out of business, maybe you want to change. Or maybe your business is good and people are still, whatever. You know your business better than I know your business. But Thanatos is bringing something to an end. It's a real. It's easy to say it's like a shadowy Leo energy. I mean, it's also like shadowy Capricorn energy. It's shadow like most of the energies because they all have a comfort zone. You know what I mean? Maybe that's another thing too with the Fool 2.0. Like, take a risk, do something a little crazy. Because it's like the poet of Avon. It's like what relives its former glories and compulsively recreates them. But it's just like there's something more that can be done. There's more that's available. You know? Let's find Arthur. I don't think I've seen Arthur before. Pretty sure I haven't. Morgan Le Fay. There's Arthur. Arthur, the champion of Avalon. The memory of an ancient and goodly king, Arthur seeks to restore himself to himself, that he might pit himself against evil and aid all those who are lost and do not know themselves. He accomplishes this by testing himself against his enemies, and only in his darkest hour does he relearn his true self. He does not fight alone, but fits himself with his famed and ancient weapons, and surrounds himself with knights who match him for valor, nobility, honor, and faith. Arthur instructs us to seek our better natures and reminds us that even the greatest warriors do not battle evil alone. That's interesting. It's interesting because it feels like it can be read in a little bit of a poet of a bond type of way, you know what I mean? All of this relearning himself. The poet of Avon was like recreating the same accomplishments over and over. I think it depends on the depth at which Arthur knows himself, or the depth at which he's willing to learn himself. Because if it goes soul deep, then like yeah, if it goes soul deep, then that's literally it feels like it's the high priestess that had the book in one hand and the sword in the other. Like the high priestess was reading our Akashic record or our suite of records, like holding our sword, trying to see what is the thing that we need to experience or go through to reawaken to some sacred knowledge that we had or held or that we are born encoded with so that we take up our own sword. I think I'm going to lean towards that. But it's self-initiated. At least on the other one, the high priestess was kind of like involved. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know anything. I love how there's the two Patricks. There's the I don't know anything about anything Patrick, and then there's the I know that I'm not always right, but I know something about something Patrick. Trust me, there is in between. But this again, it's I don't know. It's interesting. Sagittarius at station 13. Sagittarius is number 14 too. Temperance. So it's interesting. Well, what does it mean for temperance to be at death's door? Does everything get shifted up one? I mean, if that's the case, then the sun would be 18. But what would be where the world is? The cosmos? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I've almost been live long enough that I want to stay live, but I need to go to bed. This is already like an hour and 50 minutes long. Um, I don't. I guess if I had to say anything, if it feels like the energy of changing times and shifting winds has been present. I don't know. I kind of almost want to cry for some reason. It's weird. It's probably just because I'm tired and my body is like, go to sleep because you're not gonna like going to work on no sleep. Um, I guess that's a thing that I've noticed in my own personal life. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a, I want to say a lull, but it's not like, yeah, I'm in a little bit of a lull right now, but it feels like this space is sacred because I'm both resting from everything that I just that I'm resting as I'm concluding the cycle that I'm in. But there are also some things that I'm doing to prepare myself for the cycle that I'm about to enter. So it's not like there aren't things for me to do. There are. But it's this like simultaneously concluding one and preparing for the beginning of another while also like resting in the middle. But I don't know, it just feels like there's a sacredness to the space that we're in right now. And again, like with La Fruma making an appearance, it's not difficult to recognize how sacred this time really is. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, thank you, Willow Pillow. Excuse me, Willow, Corey, Sandra, Holly, for being here with me. This was interesting. I feel like it's not going to get any less interesting. I feel like maybe I should go live on the other channel for a hot second. Not tonight, obviously, because I don't necessarily want to get full into it. I don't know. It's just it's there's some real interesting, real sacred energies that are floating around. Um, I feel like I kind of sort of partially either I preoccupy myself enough to the point where I don't really like whatever. And then also at the same time, yeah, I preoccupy myself. I'm like, okay, like I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. But it still finds me. What is Capricorn season for me? This Capricorn season is it's Cardinal Earth. Yeah, because this job is going to conclude in Sagittarius season. I feel like Capricorn season will be really really interesting. Also, I don't know, it feels like the next season won't necessarily be as, I would say it won't be as busy or crazy or hectic, but it also feels like it'll just be different. It'll be a different kind of busy. It'll be a kind of busy that I love. So, I just feel it. I just feel it. So I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality and whatever you need to do in this time. For whatever reason you need to do it. I hope the resources, the capacity, and the time to get those things done. And if you're me, I hope you the not procrastination, not laziness. I'm resting. Anyway, all right, I'll catch y'all later. Bye bye.